In this video, you will learn how to solve a 6x6. If you don't know how to solve a 4x4 or a 5x5 or even a 3x3 for that matter, you need to learn those first. That'd be very helpful. So basically, we're just going to do how we went with 4x4 and 5x5. We start by solving the centers, and then we'll do the edges, and then we'll just solve it like a 3x3 from there. And this is beginner method, so nothing fancy. We're just keeping it simple. After this 2 steps, this is what it's going to look like, and after the first step, it'll be all of the centers that are solved, but all the edges will be unsolved. Before we start solving the centers, what I want to make sure that you guys know is the bars. This is a bar, that's a bar, that's a bar, and that's a bar, and so you can easily see it. I'll separate them. So that's a bar, 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 bar. So making centers, we're going to be making bars. And how we do that is by connecting pieces. Like, here's already 3, so we want to make another one. We can connect it with, we need this piece, and that's right there. All we have to do is that, and then that makes a bar. And then as we go, we'll just put them together, and then yeah. So we'll just start with white. So here's 2 middle pieces, and we'll make a middle bar first. And these can go together like this. And then now we need that piece and that piece, and here's one of them. So we can just move it like that, and then this piece doesn't match. These are 2 different kinds of pieces, so we have to have that specific piece. And there it is right here. So if we turn it, and there's multiple of them. There's 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there we go. Next, so now we're just gonna leave that there. Now we're just gonna make sure we don't mess that up. Next, you will either do a middle bar or put a side bar next to it. I like to do a side bar so I could have more progress together on one side. Here's already 2. So now we just need those 2, and here's one of them. So we can put that in there like that. And then now we need this one, and there it is right there. So there's one, put it in. And now instead of just putting it up, we're going to connect them by going like that. Now we're going to make a middle bar again. So here's a middle piece. Here's 2 middle pieces, and I can connect them like this. And then here's this one. This one's not going to match up because it's the wrong kind of piece. Here's that piece though. That matches. And now we're just going to connect it with the rest like that. And finally, the last bar, we just need that. So here's 2 I can connect. They're not connected, but they're on the same layer that we need them, so that will work for now. And then here's this piece. You can put it like this, and here's this piece. And if we move it down, we are going to mess this up, but we're still going to do that anyway. We're going to move this out of the way. That way when we bring this back to fix it, it won't mess this up. So now we can just connect that with those like that. Next, we're going to hold white on the bottom and work on the yellow layer. So first, a middle. So here's one, and there's another one, and we can connect these. Like, I'm going to put the white on the left just to make this easier. We can connect these like this. And now we need this piece or this piece, and here's one of them right now. And we can connect them like this. And remember, be careful, we don't want to mess this white up. Now we just need this piece, and there it is. So we can connect them like that. And now to put them up, we're going to go up, move it over, so when we fix the white, the yellow is out of the way. So there we go, the white is restored, and there's a yellow bar on top. Now we'll go with the sidebar. So there's a bunch of things we can do here, but here's also this, and we can just put that up there. So we already have a bar started. Now we just need another corner. There it is, and there we go. Now we can connect it. We're gonna match it up with this, and again we're gonna move it out of the way so when we restore white, it won't be messed up. So we're gonna put it back. White is restored, and now we have 2 bars. Now we're gonna go with another middle one. So here's a middle piece, and that can go with it. This will too. Now we just need another center piece, and there it is. We can just connect it like this. And then This time, instead of putting it by it and going like this, see how that doesn't work? So here what we have to do is we have to put it up in the same layer and then go like this, move it over, so that way it's out of the way when I put yellow and white back at the same time. So white is restored. All we have left is an outer bar. So here's two. How we can get these together is moving this up top. That way now I can move this and this so they can match up like that. And now we just need a corner. And here it is. So match it up like that. And now I'm going to do the same thing as last time. Push it up with the layer. Move it over. And there we go. Now we're going to hold the cube like this for the next 4 centers. So here's white, yellow. We don't want to mess these up. So next we'll just go with whatever looks best. And right now here's red. And we're going to start with the middle. So we already have that. Now we can just need that. And here's a piece for that right there. See if this piece can go right here. If we look, it matches that spot. And here what we can do is move it like this. Push it down. So we move this back up and push it back up. And this doesn't mess up white or yellow, so we can do that. Next, we're going to put it on the left side, and then we're going to work on an outer bar. So here I can connect 2 like that. And then here I can actually I can put in a corner piece by doing this and putting this one up there like that. And now I just need this piece, and here's one, but this one would be easier because all I have to do is that. Now I'll put it in like that. I'm going to keep what I've done so far, my progress. I'm going to keep it on the left. Now I need a middle bar for red, and here's some of it. And oh, here's a chunk too. We can just put that together like this. And then now we need this one, and I'll put my progress on the left so I can use this outer layer whenever I want. And here's one piece I can match up with it, and then just put it together with the rest. Now an outer layer, we can connect these two, and then put my progress on the left, and here's my last piece, put it there, and there we go. Now we're going to have to start being more careful because now we don't want to mess up red either. So next we have to go in order with the centers, because if we do this wrong, it'll make things worse later on. So if you don't know the color scheme, you can use a Rubik's Cube, like a 3x3, just so you know what goes next. So we have white, red, and then the next on that would be blue. So the next thing we have to do is the blue center right here. If we do it right here, that'll be wrong, and then we'll have problems later on. So for blue, we need a blue inner layer, and there's already this, and I can connect it with this. So that's connected, but I ruined red, so I'm going to move this out of the way to the left where I keep my progress, and then push back red so it restores it. So now I need an outer layer of blue, and here's 3. This is an outer layer, but it's part of this layer, and I don't want to mess this up, so we're not going to use this layer. Here we can connect these like this, and then I want to restore red, and then put this in here like this, go down, move it over so I can restore red, and then push it back over to the left for my progress. Next, another middle layer. Here are some pieces, and I'm just going to push this up here just to make it easier, so I have room to work with these 2 layers, so I'm more free to move things around. That'll make things easier. So here I can match up this center with that, and then move it out of the way and restore red. And then instead of just going like this, now we have to do before. We have to put it in the same layer. You could either push it down, then move it out of the way like this, or you could push this up, move it into the layer while bringing it back down. Next we need an outer layer, so here's this one and this one. So I'll just bring this up to this layer just to make things easier. We can connect these 2 like that. Again, it's not connected, but this is how they have to go, because this piece can't go here, because that's just not the kind of piece that it is. So now I can connect this one with them like that, and then this one, I like to put them on the bottom because it's just easier to match things up. And then put it to the left so I can fix red. And then I'll put this back in. Now for the last two centers, it's going to be a little harder, but across from red is orange. That's what we have to do next. So first we'll just work on a center. Sometimes it's already made, but in case it isn't, I'll just pretend that isn't there. So here we'll just put these together. What we can do is this, up, bring this piece back down like that. And now we need this piece, which here's one right here, down, and then red is broken, blue is broken, so we're going to push it out of the way and fix everything. So there we have one inner layer, and then next for the outer bars, here we already have some made, and then here we can add this by pushing it up, moving it out of the way, fixing the rest of the centers. Now we can add it to this right here by doing this, up, bring it over to the layer that we're pushing back down, like we did before. And now with another inner bar, here's already 3, and then we can connect it with this one. So we're gonna go up, over, and then push everything back down. And then we're gonna bring both of these up so I can get this bar into the layer that we're bringing back down. Now for the last layers, as you can see, green is just automatically getting solved as I'm doing orange, so that's nice. What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna try and get any inner layer pieces together. So these I can put together like this. So I'm gonna line this up with the missing piece like this. I'm gonna go bring these layers up. This is an algorithm, so it won't make very much sense unless you study it very well. But so now we're gonna go over, push this down, push this back over, and then we're going to push this layer up, push this layer back over, and then push the middle layer up. And now these are fixed, and now you might have 1 or 2 corners, but what you do now is put the flopped corners next to each other like this, and then do this. Push this over, and then up, over, and then down, and there are your centers. Next, for the edges, it's just like 4x4. Well, not really 4x4, but more like 5x5. So we can just do an edge. So here I can put these together. Next, we have this one. Can go together like this. And then now my last white-red piece is over here. And I can't just turn it like this because that messes up the centers. So how I get that over there is by bringing it up to a top layer and then bringing it down to a layer closer to it. And since it won't fit, now I have to do the algorithm that flips an edge completely upside down. And that doesn't ruin the centers, so you can do that whenever you like. And then now we're going to connect them like this. And now put it up in the layer, and now we're going to be very careful to not bring this down into the layer that we're working with. Now you can either fix the centers every time you do that, or you can just leave them how they are, as long as you're not turning them while they're ruined. If they are fixed, then you can turn them, but if they aren't, then you can't, because now you can't put it back. See, now it's ruined. So now I'll do a couple more examples. So here is red and blue. Here's one of the pieces, and we can bring that down like this, making sure we're not bringing this down. Match it together. Last red and blue piece is right here, and we can bring it down like this and fit them together. Now we're just gonna put this up, and while we're putting this up, make sure we don't bring this down. So bring down a layer with an unsolved edge, and then you're just gonna keep doing that until you fill this layer up like this. Then you're going to turn it upside down, and then you have 4 more layers to work with. So now once you have all 4, now you can fix the centers, so like that. And now we're just going to look for anything that's connected, like here's connected pieces, this is connected, that's all we got. So we're just going to see what we can do with these. So here we have these 2, and usually I'd flip this so they can match up, but there's nowhere to put them. So instead of flipping it, This is how it was before. This time I'm gonna push this over, and this is gonna seem weird at first, but it'll make sense. Now we're gonna flip this edge, so now it's like this, and then put this back, and now it will line up. Now if you try to do this with an outer edge like this, you try to put it in there like that, flip it, put it back, it will not work. It'll just flip this. But you can solve this by just putting them separate from each other and then flipping it and then putting it back. Then it will solve. So now we're going to keep doing that, finding the centers or the middle edges we can put together. So here's one, and it's matching up like this, but for the last 3 and 4 layers or edges we need to solve, that's bad. We want them to be mismatched like this. So now we can solve it like that, and then we will push this together like this, and now we have it flipped, and then we're gonna solve it. So flip this so we can put the edges back like that. And now we're down to our last 2 edges, so I'm just gonna turn this so it comes over here. So these are just our last 2 edges. What we can do here is anything that's flipped like this, or edges facing each other like these two or these two, center, middle edges, I mean, not the outer ones, but so we're gonna push that layer together and then flip it. We're not gonna flip it here because that'll just ruin this edge. So we're gonna flip this one and then push it back, and now this is solved, and this isn't. So here's an algorithm whenever it's flipped that you're gonna need. And there we go. So when you're at your last 2 edges, and if these are the middle edges already solved, what you can do now is if you have a flipped edge like this, you can do the algorithm. So we have it mismatched, then we're going to put this over, flip it, push it back over, and it'll solve. If you come to your last 2 edges and it looks like this might look good, but it's actually not. You're going to just have to solve one of the edges like this, and then flip it, fix it, and then that solves one of them, but now you have to do that algorithm again on the other edge. Oh. And now we can just solve it like a 3x3 because we are in 3x3 stage, but there is a chance of parity, so we will go through that as well. Now if you're solving a 6x6 and you put it in a corner and it is flipped for some reason, like it matches it's in its spot, but for some reason the colors are on the wrong way, and then if you put it on this side it matches, but the green is with the blue. This means that you got your centers wrong, and 2 centers need to flip, so yellow or white, or it could be blue and green, it doesn't matter, just as long as you flip one. So what you're going to do is you're going to take 2 layers and go like this, turn the top and bottom at the same time twice, and then bring this back up. And it might do, depending on where you do it at, it will ruin some stuff. So you just have to refix that, but now, as you can see, it is now solved. So here I have parity, and there is no OLL case on a 3x3 that is possible that has 1 edge up and 3 down. So here we just have to flip another edge. So we do that with the algorithm we learned earlier, but with the middle layers instead. And now here I've come across the other parity. This is not a real PLL case that comes up on a 3x3. So here's what you do whenever you need to flip an edge with another edge, like flip these two edges, or you put them in each other's place. You go like this. And now we just have a J prime. And there we go. So that's how to solve a 6x6. I hope now you know how to solve one. And thank you for watching, and see you next time.